I'm going to talk to you guys today about the four wheels of our business. Our first thing I want you to draw a car on your paper. There's four wheels of our business. What happens when you're driving down the highway and you're trying to get to speeds of 60K, 80K, 100K, and you have a low front right tire? What happens to the car? It starts to pull. If we don't focus on keeping equal pressure in all four tires, what's happening to your business is dragging you into the ditch. It's dragging you into the ditch. There's a lot of agents in WFG that feel like they're moving because they're showing up and there's little things that are going on. But technically, you could be moving and driving in circles. How many of you watching this right now have ever felt like you're going in circles in your business? Just be honest. 1 month ago, we were in the same spot we were today. Same amount of people showing up, same amount of energy. But licensing seems to be okay. So I'm not sure why I feel that way. 6 months later, you feel like you're moving, but you've just been going in circles. And you're like, I don't know what's going on. Net licensing has been on par. Year and a half later, you feel like you're just going in circles, spinning your tires. You feel like you've been moving, but you're just going in circles and circles and circles. Why is that? Because when you have a low tire, regardless of what side it's on, you've been driving like this. And if you don't know where you're going, if you don't know what it's supposed to look like, where you're heading, you got to really hear me on this. If you don't know exactly where you're driving to, even though you're moving, you're in circles. I'm moving. I can tell I'm moving. I had a cert pass. I'm moving. Okay. Well, let's evaluate the four wheels of the business. And as I go through these four wheels, I want you to evaluate what's my tire pressure in each wheel. They are equally important. I'm here to instruct you and give you the tools and the mindset and the actual formula to staying on the road and moving towards that goal. So let's get back to this epic drawing of the car. So the first thing I want you to write down is recruiting. To personally recruit is to have a vision. I was talking to Sledzy, Jarrett, a couple days ago, and he's got like 6 directs in licensing. He's like, man, I'm so excited. I got more directs in licensing than I've had in a long time, right? My wife and I are focused on getting wide and adding width and licensing. And you know what the first thing that popped into my mind is? Jarrett has developed a new vision at a new level compared to what he had a year ago. To personally recruit is to have a vision for your business. Recruiting is the engine that feeds the system. If your recruiting wheel is low, that you have no new material coming in. You have no new energy coming into your base shop. Now there's person recruiting and then there's team recruiting. And both are important, obviously. But what percentage of your day is allotted to the expansion of your team? What percentage of your day? If you're full-time and you're putting in 8 hours a day or 10 hours a day, full-time entrepreneurs, maybe 10 hours a day, is 2 to 3 hours a day set aside for expansion? 4 hours a day. If you're part-time and you can only do like 10 hours a week, do you spend 2 to 3 hours a week on the expansion part? Have you dialed in your recruiting number? Do you know your pace? Have you figured out that last month, if you did 5, if you kept doing 5, where it's going to take you, where the destination's going to be? Have you also figured out if you keep doing 0, where that's going to take you? Have you dialed it in? Do you know the number? Do you know that at 40 PSI in the right tire, it's going to take you to this destination? Have you really sat down and sold out to it? Do you even know why we recruit? Or is it still weird to you? If it's still weird to you, I'll take responsibility, and so will your leadership, for not having done a good enough job, and that starts with me, obviously, of explaining to you what this model is. Or maybe it's a lack of clarity on where we're going. But have you figured out your pace? Because there's 2 positions in WFG. Step 1, you got to get to SMD. MD was great, right, Katya? But you got to get to SMD. Step 2 is you got to build SMDs. Even at SMD, if the team isn't recruiting, the team is stagnant. Even at SMD, guys, once you get there, if you're not recruiting, that's a base shop that's going in circles. Every week, 7 people showing up, 8 people, 11 people, 8 people, 9 people, 7 people, 8 people, 9 people, right? So in the beginning, at associate marketing director, you got to get that recruiting pace up. But then once you get to SMD, you still have to have that mindset because it's the front right tire and you can't win with the front right tire. Now, within each tire, what do you have? You have spokes. So within the recruiting tire, you have all these spokes. What do the spokes do? They take the pressure off the tire to evenly distribute it. So what are the spokes in this scenario? They're the subsystems. They're the phone zones. It's the presentation, right? Is every presentation an expansion presentation? I'm not saying we recruit everybody we meet. That's ridiculous. I'm just saying, do you talk about the expansion of your business? Do you get referrals for the expansion of your business? Do you have a vision for the expansion of your business? Are you willing to talk to people about the expansion who are uncomfortable about hearing about the expansion? Are you willing to build your business despite not everybody believing in you building your business? If I listened to every person who told me what I should and shouldn't say in the field, I'd still be a marketing director in WFG. But have you developed that expansion mindset? Look at your team right now. Look at your team. Look at maybe go back April, May, June. Look at the recruiting volume that's coming in at associate, if you're an associate. Look at it coming in at MD. Look at the numbers. Look at them. Look at SMD. If you have SMDs, look at your whole team. Look at the number. How's your tire doing? Because if you drive long enough on a flat tire, a low tire, guess what happens? You blow the tire right off the rim. And then what happens? You come to a complete stop. And then you got to bring in the tow truck. Tow truck's going to take you to the impound lot or wherever, to the mechanic shop, and it's going to take you 3, 4, 5 weeks to get that car back on the road. In our business, 3, 4, 5 months to get that vehicle back on the road. The second tire, licensing tire. Licensing is an all-out effort. It's an all-in effort. And by the way, I'll give credit where credit's due. If you want to learn how to jack up that recruiting tire, Go hang around some SMDs or MDs or associates that are recruiting. Go talk to a Garth who's getting tons of directs. Go talk to a Katia Wad that's going to finish at 8 or 9 as an MD. Go talk to a Nabi Ghani who's DDRing at an MD level. Go talk to a Steve Holbrook who's hit 10 in his base for almost 100 months in a row. If you want to learn how to license people, go talk to a Brian and Stacy Burrows who have added 6 licenses since that growth mode started. Go talk to some leaders that are winning at that level. I'm not the best at everything. I'm not the best at every tire. I'm not the king. I'm not the guru, right? I have experience. I can guide you and I can point you in the right direction. But there's some men and women on this team right now that are amazing. You want to learn? We'll talk about net licensing. Go talk to Pauline McInnes. Last year, she was the highest net licensing base shop in the whole team. Go talk to Peanut. Find out the secret sauce that she had last year. But the second tire is licensing. Everybody we recruit should have the expectation of getting licensed. Everybody. And if it's taking 2-3 months to get people through licensing, we're just not doing a great job at the leadership level of getting people through licensing. We got to move them to the next bucket. It's all in. The number one question I get asked as a training associate MD, how do I become a better leader? Well, to become a better leader is to help your team. I was getting text messages from Brent Tyler. He's got a super sharp new teammate. She's amazing. Fired up for that team. And I was getting text messages from him. But he's like, hey, I'm sitting out here, my teammate's getting licensed. Well, that's what it takes. Sitting down, studying, right? Here's a crazy thought. What if every single person on our team was booked in for the next license exam? You should see how many people in this hierarchy we have in licensing right now. We got to get way more serious about getting people through. Does that mean we shouldn't get them in the field? No. Does it mean they shouldn't show up to Wednesday night? No. Does it mean they shouldn't be recruiting? No. It just means that we got to get people through licensing way quicker. Way quicker. Look at the numbers right now in the Holbrook hierarchy. Look at this. These are active people. Right now, we have 134 people that have not written a cert yet, and that's okay. A lot of these people were just recruited. I want to talk about you guys for a second. How many people on your team do you have in the 0 cert? And what if you just sat down with every single one of those people this week and got them all to 1 cert? This is how you win. Make a list. Make a list of all the people on your team that have a 0 cert and get them booked in for the next cert. It's super simple. After this call, book a meeting, get on the phone, get on a Zoom call, book it in Tuesday, right? And then for 2 days, help them get through that next one. We got 47 people that have done one cert. This is our opportunity. I want everybody, don't wait for Jarrett to do it, right? Don't wait for Brian or Chad or Amber or Pauline. Don't wait for them to do it. Take ownership of your team. They're doing their best. I'm doing my best. Everybody's doing their best, right? But you want to do is you want to get with your teammates. You want to get them booked in for the next cert. This is how some of us can take ownership in our business. All of us. This is how Xander takes ownership, right? Amber Booker takes ownership. Amber Wanke, all of you guys watching this call, you can take individual ownership in your business by helping your teammate go from 0 certs to 1 cert passed. We got 21 people that have passed 2 certs. What if we had 21 people this week that got to the 3rd cert category? Well, then we'd have 29 people there. We have 89 people in this hierarchy that have passed 4 certs. Do you know that we're 50 licenses away in the super base from hitting SCVC? 50. We have 90 people that have passed 4 certs. I bet you the Sleds and Thompsons, I don't know the math, are probably each, you guys correct me, 20 or 30 licenses away from CEO. Missy, maybe you can correct me on that, or Thompsons. I don't know what your goal is there. But if we could help these leaders and ourselves as leaders move people from bucket to bucket. This is not a Melissa Sled's focus. This is an everybody focus. Everybody at the sound of my voice is the licensing coordinator. We are all responsible for moving people. We have 3 people that have passed their final exams in the US. We have 35 people who have not yet passed a provincial, who's in that phase. So what should we do? After this call, let's, and I'm serious about this. Let's make a list. MDs, listen when I tell you guys this. Let's make a list of all the people on our team in each bucket, and let's get them all to book their provincial. Book it 7 days out, and then go ham. Help them study, right? Look at this. 36 people have passed 4 provincial exams. Who can tell me on the chat how much production on average a licensed agent does per month? Between 1,500 and 1,700 points. You guys are so good. Let's just say it's 1,600. Yeah, 1,500. 1,500 times 40. We're 40 licenses away from adding 60,000 points a month to this hierarchy. You times that by 12, that's 720,000 points a year. That would increase our annual production by 10% just in 1 month of getting these 40 people passed. How many of them are on your team? 1 state, 12 paperwork had not submitted, and 24 there to waiting to hit the system. I'm calling on all leaders on this call. You have to designate somebody today to at least pull up all the data and all the names and get it known, forefront. Let's meet with our leaders. Let's meet with our individual teammates to help them get super focused. And I can tell the chat's blowing up, but even as the chat's blowing up, we're still delusional because none of us on this call are where we need to be with licensing. There's not one of us on this call is at the level that we need to be at yet around licensing. Even the Burrows who are on a crazy pace, they can get better too. I'm sure they can. I don't know. And Brian's pretty good, but I'm telling you, we all have room to improve. We all have room to improve. Licensing. But guess what? Licensing dries up without recruiting. You could be the #1 licensing team in all WFG. You could tell me that you have a 50% licensing ratio. But if you're licensing 2 people a month and you're a base shop, or you're recruiting 2 people a month and you're a base shop, then at the end of every year, you got as many people leaving as you have coming, right? So it's recruiting and licensing are the 2 front wheels of the business. Let's talk about the 3rd wheel. Write this one down, net licensing. Let's talk about net licensing. Net licensing is your teammates making $1,000. Okay? So what have I started doing? On my desk, I have a list of all the agents that have not made $1,000 yet in my base shop. I just crossed off Nabby's guys. Nabby, hit the highway, buddy. Hit the bricks, bro. But I got a list here of all the people on my team that haven't hit net license. Guess what I'm focused on here? The next 7 days. calling them and then calling their trainer and getting them connected to book 3 qualified field appointments. 3 qualified field appointments, qualified, will lead to at least 1 or 2 sales. The qualified market, that'll be 10,000 points. At a split sale, even if it's a split, 5,000 points at a training associate is $1,000. I'm starting to get intentional with my net licensing. So we started doing this. Victoria put the paperwork in for a gal on my team. And what Victoria said to her is, now that your paperwork's in, you have to call your trainer and get on your 10 training appointments. So what did Asia do? She texted me right away, said, hey, Victoria told me that I have to meet with you. So I booked a meeting with this gal, and guess what we're doing? We're booking meetings in her market to get her net license, because there's a system, there's a structure. Get obsessed with net licensing, okay? And the 4th tire is leadership development. Man, leave a lot of room for this one. You can have great recruiting. You can have great licensing. You can have great net licensing. But if your ability to build leaders and duplicate is off, you're always going to be the biggest part of your team. You're always going to be an MD team or an SMD team or an associate team where 80% of everything is run by you. Well, Steve, how do I know if I'm developing leaders? Well, look at your team production and team recruiting, and how much of that are you involved with? How many CFTs do you have on your team that can do what you do at the level that you do it at? How many people on your team can do what you do at the level that you do it at? I had one of the best convos, was it yesterday, Brian? You and I had a chat. Brian Burrows is obsessed right now with duplication, building leaders. He had this aha moment, and he's like, I have to duplicate more. Everything that you do should be based around duplication. If I have a meeting with a teammate, if I have a meeting with one of Katya's teammates, guess who else is on the call? Katya. Why? So Katya can see how I talk to that teammate. Every time I do a little team meeting, it's always with 2 or 3 people, because I want them all to see how we do it. We've been doing a lot more field appointments where it's the trainees market, the upline, and then like their upline. Because our time is so precious. Things are moving so quickly. I'm not saying that everybody should be on the call on a field appointment. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying where there's an opportunity to be, duplication has to happen. Listen to me when I'm telling you this. Time is the most valuable resource we have. It's the only resource we can't get back. Everybody at the end of their life wishes they had more time. Everybody. That's why people sometimes that numb themselves at their job. See, that's why when you get sucked into the life of a job, because the pay or this, you know what's funny is that it's not till I tried to quit Earl's that they offered me like a general manager position. Do you ever notice that? It's like when you try and quit, they always offer you more money. Yeah, because they're paying you just enough to keep them rich and just enough to keep you happy, unhappy. Like the job is a drug. It's the hit. And at a job, they hire people to help their company get wealthy. In our business, everything is about duplicating leadership to empowering other people to become their own entrepreneur. Yeah, it's scary. And yeah, your mom and dad are gonna be concerned and there might be an intervention and cousin Billy is gonna tell you, well, you joined one of those things. And Aunt Betty, who was with Investors Group for 7 years, is gonna be like, well, look out for WFG. Like they're how do you say it? They're a recruiting model. Yeah, Aunt Betty, we are. Thank you. Thank you for that. We do recruit and train and duplicate and serve more families. And that's why we're 50% of Equitable Life and like 60% of Avari, and we're dominating IA and we're changing the industry. And yeah, and that's why we're meeting with people that, are underserved, is because we are that model. So thank you for explaining that. We're in the duplication business. Duplication. Here's duplication. Ready? The ability to transfer the mindset and skill set to somebody else. The ability to transfer the mindset and skill set to somebody else. I'm going to be vulnerable with you guys. There was a time in my career, I don't know the exact time frame, 3-4 years, where I got really good at the business and I got a little bit lazy and I just did everything. Hey, Steve, can you do this for me? Yeah, no problem, did it. Yeah, can you take this person in a ring? Yeah, no problem. I did it because I was really good and I could get results. And if you want it done right and fast, just do it yourself, right? It's why some people still don't have assistants at marketing director level, no assistants, right? It's like, you got to get an assistant, okay? But it's like, if I want it done right, I just do it myself. And I had that mindset. And then I was my base shop. I was my business. And then I realized, holy shit, one day I'm going to be on my deathbed. I'm going to be 80 years old. None of my grandpas lived to 80, so probably won't be 80, it'll be a little bit under 80. I'd be like, man, I wish I had time. I wish I had more time. I wish I had more time. So why don't I apply that in my business? Why don't I duplicate more? Why don't I transfer the mindset? Not work less, work more on the right things. Work as much on the right things. And if you're going to duplicate, write this down. You got to build a ton of trust and you got to build a ton of relationships. Duplication is about building trust and about building relationships. I want you to check in right now. How are the relationships in your base shop? Do you have a severed relationship with the downline? Is it not great? Is it not 100%? Do you have a severed relationship with your upline? I don't care whose fault it was. I don't care who got mad at who. I don't care who hurt whose feelings first. Until any of that nonsense is gone, there'll be no duplication. Steve, can you train me? I don't really like my upline. Why don't you like your upline? They talk funny. Well, they talk funny. Oh, okay. Well, they make good money. Okay, so maybe build a bit of a relationship, right? Maybe learn what you can from them. Okay, everybody has something to give. So you build a relationship, you build trust. Listen to me on this, at the expense of maybe getting burnt. A lot of people are afraid to build a relationship with someone in their base because of a past bad experience. Does anybody know people that are afraid to date because maybe they had a bad experience, so they're like traumatized? They were cheated on, maybe they were mentally, emotionally abused, and they're like, I don't trust people. I don't want to date. What they're doing is they're holding themselves back and they don't want to build a relationship because they're so scared to get burnt again. I think a lot of us as up and coming leaders, we're so afraid to go all in on a relationship, all in, because what if that person quits? Do you know how many people who have quote unquote been like some of my best buddies in the business have quit? I can't even tell you how many people. And guess what most of them are doing? They're still back at their job, just mediocre. Doesn't mean we don't check in once in a while. We see each other on social media. I'm just heading a different direction. But I'm willing to get burnt. I'm willing to go all in and get burnt. You know, a lot of people, they say, oh, I'm just going to do less with my team and I'm going to spend less time with this person and less time with, because I'm just tired of them not doing it. Well, you have that right when you have all this other stuff going on. When you get so busy and you have to pick and choose who to spend time with, then that's awesome. But don't count yourself out, right? Build those relationships. I'm not talking about reviving the dead. I'm not talking about trying to build people that didn't even show up to this call. Like if people didn't show up to this call and they could have been here, those probably aren't the people that you want to be spending time with. I'm just being straight up with you, right? And then the ones that did show up, right? Do they have their camera on, right? Are they at the office? Are they focused? Those are the extra ones. Like the ones that show up, B, the ones that show up camera on, ready to go. Those are the ones that I spend all my time with. Because they've set aside the time to be on the call and they're actually dedicated and they're contributing with their camera on. And then the A+ are the ones that are commenting in the chat. The ones that comment in the chat on a Zoom call like this, those are the ones that I spend, like you see Kathy's been on here lots. A lot of my leaders have been on here. Those are the ones that I spend time with. That's how I separate. SMDs that are on the rise are commenting on the chat. It's just how it is. It's just the energy, right? It's just this whole game is energy. SMDs that comment on the SMD chat are the ones that are in the best headspace, the ones that are the best team players. They contribute the most. The people that contribute the most, right? They submit things, they do things on time, all this stuff. Those are the ones that are going to win the biggest because they're the team players. It's not complicated. That's who you want to be spending your time with. That's who you want to be duplicating into. Everybody else, who it's all about them, you don't have to spend time with those people because they're probably not going to win anyway. All right. We duplicate everything. Write that down. We duplicate everything. Our energy, how we make a call, how we close business, how we show up, how we get wide, how we bring energy to all of our WhatsApp chats. We duplicate everything. You are duplicating everything. And how you show up for everybody else is how your team's going to show up for you. You can say you're not a big communication person and I kind of do my own thing and I have my own little style. Well, great. How many people have that style and are winning? Right. So you got to be an avid duplicator, an avid communicator, an avid builder of people. You got to be a team. You got to be a flag carrier for your upline. You got to be the most boisterous, loud, fun-loving, giving back, contributing person on your entire team. And then you duplicate the people that do the same. The whole system is developed to build people. So make sure that at every opportunity, you're building people, you're duplicating, you're teaching people. Don't be soft with them. Don't lead so soft because you're so scared to blow people out. If you lead soft and blow people out, you're going to have new people here 6 months licensed, making no money with no teammates. That's leading soft. You want to lead strong. I would rather err on the side of Katya making her feel extra uncomfortable the first month. I'd rather her be extra uncomfortable and her breakthrough than me not be strong enough and her end up just average and ordinary in this business. Right around month 4, 5, 6, the concrete sets with your new recruits. It's very hard to change somebody's mindset after 6 months in WFG. It's totally doable, but it's more difficult. So early on in their career, you got to be a strong leader and duplicate early on all those little things, the showing up, the duplication, the mindset, the energy, the commenting, all that stuff. And by the way, I just want to give a shout out to my friend Jen. I don't know if Jen Lowe's on the call, but she got into a fender bender a couple days ago. She's suffering with a major concussion. And all this girl does is try and figure out how to show up for her team. Oh, she is on the call. She obviously, she had her camera. You put your camera off, Jen. It's okay. I'm not calling you out. This girl is like flat out, like in dark goggles, feeling bad because she can't be there for her team. Are you kidding me? One of the best leaders we have in this organization. But that's what happens when you're a great leader. You feel bad when you can't be there physically for the team, right? I just want to give Jen a little shout out. I'm honestly thinking about you, J-Lo. Man, concussions are terrible. It's really hurting right now. But lastly, I'll say on duplication is we must really be willing to invest in our people emotionally, spiritually, physically, and financially. Throw contests, invest some of your money. You made some of your money off your team, so maybe reinvest some of that, right? Your front line, you are going to be asking your front line to go into battle with you. Are they willing to go into battle with you? If you say, Trey, I need you to pick up that sword and stand beside me, I can't promise you the outcome, but I can promise you it'll be worth it in this life or the next. I mean, listen, I don't want to over dramatize it, but when you build a brotherhood and a sisterhood, you have people that will go to bat for you. And when you're that person for your upline, when you're the number one, ask yourself, are you the number one think about who your direct upline is right now. Are you the number one flag carrier for your direct upline? The number one. So you just build them up nonstop. You lift them up. Nonstop, building up, lifting up, building up, lifting up. And if not, I'm going to challenge you to become that person. You'll never have people on your team who become that for you unless you become that person. Just the way it goes. So, you guys got some value to that so far? All right, so last slide here, the destination. That's a straight road, my friends. If you don't know where you're going, you could be driving on a low recruiting tire for 5 years. You will tolerate low recruiting, and low recruiting is under 5 as a team. You will tolerate low recruiting for years and years and years and years and years if you don't know where you're going. And sometimes we get to a little place, maybe it's 50K, 100K, 150K. We get to a little place, a little village. And it used to be about the team, and now it's all about us. And now we don't really care if we go any further. We don't show up to the office every day. We work from home. We don't show up. We don't get personal recruits. We don't lead by example. And really what that is telling our team is that we're happy with where we're going and they're on their own. And behind us, we have our teammates that are spinning in circles, making no money. MDs making $3-4 grand a month, $2 grand a month, no money. Now, you can't help everybody, but what can you do? You can keep your eyes high. You can have a clear destination, clear goals, clear dreams, keep moving, keep moving, keep moving, keep moving, keep moving. Check the air tire. Man, I have a desperately low recruiting tire. Then if you have a low recruiting tire and everything else is good, I would almost stop everything that I was doing. I would almost shut everything else down almost to pump that recruiting tire back up and then all systems go. You cannot get to where you want to go with a low recruiting tire. You cannot get to where you want to go with a low licensing tire, low net licensing, and certainly not a low leadership development tire. These are the 4 tires that are going to take you to the promised land.